So just introducing the podcast really quick. This podcast is called Heart and Plate, where we talk about food and feeding people. Food is my passion, and I have Jeff and Nisa here today from National Eats Food Truck, and we're just going to have a little chat.
Sounds good.
Yeah, let's get into it. So, first of all, how did you get started in the food truck business? So you went from a ranch. How did this come about?
Mm-hmm. It's my fault. I'd say so. Long time ago, right around 2000, I opened up a mobile dog grooming service in Connecticut, and I was just fascinated by the whole mobile aspect of it, and a lot of it was like the way the van was built was like kind of like half RV, half boat, and I was just fascinated by the whole thing. Like, you can actually have a business that roams around. I mean, I was a kid, so and there was this one food truck in our neighborhood that was pretty famous. It was called the Super Duper Weenie Truck. And that's in Fairfield, Connecticut, right on the line of Fairfield and Bridgeport. And I would see them around, and their food was absolutely amazing. And I always said, when I retire, when I'm 50 and I retire, I want to have a food truck. So I've kind of like inadvertently kind of shoved my career in certain directions to figure out how to do that. And experience and learn as much as I can. And so 3 weeks before I turned 50, we opened our doors.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Even at our ranch, really, in our youth growing up, my family owned a quintessential hamburger beer pub in Connecticut, so I grew up in the restaurant business, and Jeff has been in food and beverage in that business forever. His first...
Literally since I was 12.
Yeah. His first job, grown-up job, was in a liquor store that we had in our town. So, restaurant and food and creating food and just creating food and drink to make people happy and feel good, I mean, that's in our blood.
Mm-hmm.
Even at our ranch, we owned a real event venue bed and breakfast where we really did prepare breakfast from scratch every morning for our guests. And he got really, really, really good at it.
Because it was breakfast, and I was scared to make breakfast.
He was.
For people, so I'm like, let me do it. I want to learn how to make breakfast.
For the first year and a half, he was like, I'm not doing breakfast. I said, okay. And finally I said, I'm not getting up early by myself anymore. You're doing breakfast. So he did. He took it on, and he did it really, really well.
That's awesome.
Right?
Yes, breakfast is so daunting because everything is a la minute.
Yeah.
You can't make anything ahead of time. It has to be
Nope.
done right. And the pressure is on. People are hungry.
Yep.
They just woke up.
It's the first meal of the day. They're cranky and they're hungry. And it's important to make it right.
Yeah.
So when we moved here to Sahaurita, and I said, well, this is it. We are going to be 50 in no time. Figure it out. This is your dream. This is what you want to do. Have at it. And it, so started the year and a half, literally year and a half from let's do it, this is the time, to, day one on the road for the food truck.
So your food truck is called National Eats.
Mm-hmm.
How did you come up with that name?
Well, it went through so many different phases and so many different concepts. So my LLC is Food for the People, and that's what the truck was going to be called. And I went through like 15, 16 different menu concepts, anything from like Asian American fusion to like what it is now and everything in between. And so it wasn't until, I have a whole long list of names that the truck was going to be called. And 2 weeks before got put on the truck, I was like, nope, no, we're going to change it. We're changing it. We're changing it to National Eats.
One of the nice things, really, I think, about our partnership is that we are both Pisces. We're both creative people, and we both tend to have grand ideas of how things are going to go. So we are good for each other because we kind of pull down those balloons every now and again.
Yeah.
And he had names for this truck, notes for names for this truck that were so much fun for 2 years. But we just kept coming back to the basics. Why are we doing this? Why are you doing this? Because I miss the food in New York. Because I can't get a sandwich that I really want that tastes like home. Because I want a smash burger that tastes like the way I remember it.
That's actually a smash burger.
Yeah, and I said, then let's just come back to basics and let's make it real simple. Simple for people to understand and simple for us to explain to people. And really, 2 weeks before we met with a designer, because we did, to help us with the logo and the wrap for the truck, we went from Food for the People to National Eats.
Yeah. I really just I wanted to encompass everything that was going to be on the menu, but I didn't want to pigeonhole myself into one menu if that concept didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to have the ability to sidestep for
And pivot. Pivot if we needed to.
It's so important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is.
Because you won't know until you actually start serving if
Yeah.
it's going to work or not. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So tell me about your menu. What's on your menu?
So it started off pretty small, pretty concise, very direct as far as the concept was concerned. It was like I have a Chicago hot dog. I have a couple hot dogs from New York. There's a Philly cheesesteak. Your typical burgers like a barbecue burger and a hatch burger, and a ranch burger. Nothing new. But what I wanted to do was, I wanted to simplify everything, and really just nail the basics. And I think that's what a lot of restaurants all across the board seem to kind of forget about. They want to be fancy and show off their skills, and they miss that baseline. So there's really nothing to really kind of build upon. You can't build a house from the top down. So I really wanted to just do basics and keep it that way, and stay within the lines of what's now our tagline, food for the people, but it's our LLC. And I just wanted it to be simple. I wanted it to be something that everybody could relate to.
Approachable. So burgers, hot dogs, sandwiches.
Like an Italian combo,
Yes.
a hot Italian sandwich that has melted cheese on it, stuff that I had in Harlem and in Brooklyn and up in the Bronx. And so it's all basic stuff that we grew up with back east.
Quality food done well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that concept, and something for everybody. I love that.
Yes, something for everybody, really. And we really put a lot of research into where are we going to get these goods and ingredients for the truck. It's not just... It's hard when you're living in one place and you come from another to replicate the flavors, right? Because they may not be where you are. Those just may not be the flavors of where you live now. So we had to do a lot of research of, okay, well, where are we getting our bread from? Well, maybe we need to get our bread from back east. Where are we going to get some of these ingredients from? We had to get them from different places to make it taste like we wanted it to taste.
Right. Question. I'm a hot dog aficionado. As East Coasters and our hot dogs, what kind of hot dogs? All beef, all pork beef?
All beef.
All beef.
Natural casing?
No, I can't. So what I've found out being out here is that there aren't very many brands that offer them out here.
Yeah.
So I'm still on the lookout, but we use Nathan's hot dogs.
And I have to tell you, I will never forget the night we did taste tests of everything. The night that we did, maybe it was over 2 nights, but the nights that we did the taste tests of the hot dogs was fascinating.
Yeah.
We had 9 hot dogs that night for dinner.
It was 12. It was 12. So
I didn't feel very good for the
there was 12 hot dogs, and we cooked them 3 different ways in a blind taste test. And
in our kitchen.
And listen, I'll be the first to admit, I had no idea. It wasn't anything ever I really paid attention to. I think it was more about me taking for granted the styles of hot dogs and the brands of hot dogs that we grew up with back east. But when we lined them all up, and what I thought I was going to like versus what it came out to be, it was so surprising.
Yeah.
So,
it was a good exercise.
Yeah.
It was a really good exercise.
I mean, it is really important to like have what you know, but just make it with what you have in the area you're in. I learned that lesson. I got what's his name, the French Laundry, Thomas Keller.
Oh, Thomas Keller.
I got his cookbook and I was like, I'm gonna make one of these recipes. I could not find one of those ingredients here.
Yeah.
Not one of those ingredients.
Yeah.
So it's just important to like take a recipe and then make it with what you could find in your regional area.
Yeah.
So
and learning that you have to maybe do things a little different than what you had planned, right? Being able to pivot.
But not compromise.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yep. And I think it's important to know what you're serving and what you're making and where it's coming from and what the flavor profile is and talking about it, because people do ask questions. And I know if we're at a restaurant and I ask a question about something on the menu or an ingredient, and that individual may say, "Oh, I don't know," or "I don't know anything about that ingredient." I always wish they did, right? Because I think if somebody's asking you for education about what they're eating, that's really important to respect and to help. And that was something we really wanted to make sure we were doing.
Yeah, and if one person asks the question, 3 people probably already thought about it and didn't.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love that. Let's see. What was your biggest hiccup in starting your food truck? What held you back the most?
It'd be interesting to see my answer versus mine.
Well, it was acquiring the vehicle. So at first, I bought a used truck, like an all-inclusive truck, and I went up to Tucson. I drove it around. I tested it out. I looked it through and through. And then the second day, we both went up and looked at it and looked it over and thought it was great. Brought it home, and on the way home, there was there was a couple things that were like, all right, some of these are fixable, some of them aren't. But there was one knock that came out of nowhere that got louder and louder and louder, and so I'm like, this isn't good. So we brought it to my mechanic, and the mechanic said, "Yeah, you're gonna need new motor, but the thing is, the way this truck is built, we're gonna have to cut the front end off."
Oh.
Yeah.
So we called up the guy who I bought it from and let him know that he's got 2 options. Either he's going to give us our money back, or he's going to pay for the cutting off the front end and putting a new motor in. And he said, "I'll give you your money back." And so he took the truck back, gave us the money back, and then we decided to yet again pivot and go the truck and trailer route. And
get brand new.
So we looked. I mean, the truck and trailer was all a part of the research throughout the years too, and there's pluses and minuses to both of them. But once we decided on a trailer, we really kind of put our heads down and started looking at companies and types of trailers and how big and what kind of equipment, and yet again, what kind of menu are we going to be doing, because the menu really forces what kind of equipment you're going to be using. And so once we decided on really what style of trailer, if you will, we finally found a company, after going through a lot of them, that would build one to our spec in a reasonable amount of time, because we had already wasted months with this truck. So we purchased the trailer. They built it out. They shipped it out to us, and I mean, the thing was such a jalopy that, long story short, we sent it back.
So I just need everybody to know that when Jeff really decided this is it, he stopped everything else. So his job,
I quit my full-time job.
Quit his full-time job to dedicate to get this business going. So everybody knows who has any kind of a business, money is time and time is money. We're now going on probably 4 months at that point with 2 trucks that weren't going to work. But signs from the universe saying, keep going. You know, this gentleman that we got the first truck from didn't have to give us our money back. He did. This next trailer that came within moment one, oh my gosh, this isn't what we just spent a lot of hard saved money
Quite
on.
literally, once I turned the lights on, it nearly blew up.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So a lot of phone calls, and I mean, by this time he was almost quiet with, how did we get here? And me
I was already doubting it.
I'm like, let me get on the phone with every single person I can think of. Let me research everything. I ended up getting on the phone with the Chamber of Commerce in the town that we bought this trailer from.
Because they weren't answering our phone calls.
Right. To get to the owner of the company, to get somebody to talk to us, because we needed some answers. It worked. Perseverance pays off, and quite frankly, thinking creatively in moments like that paid off. We sent the truck back. We waited another 2-3 months for it to be rebuilt yet again, and then delivered to us. So now we were set back a good 6 months by this time. So your plan, right, when you're starting any kind of a business, you have your timeline, you have your time frame, you have your money saved that you think is going to cover you for a certain amount of time. We were already 6 months behind.
Because it can't be all up to you.
No. And it's one thing that I've learned throughout life is that you cannot push the universe around. You got to let the universe push you where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I just kind of kept my mouth shut in a lot of situations and let Nisa do the talking. And just kind of let the universe take its course and.
Yeah, recognize your strengths too.
Yeah.
With Nisa, seems like the right person to make those calls.
We did.
Yeah.
I mean, hey,
absolutely.
I was blown away.
I'm never that person to make that call.
I was blown away when he was thinking about, because again, when we started with the truck, right, and what equipment goes in it. You only know what equipment goes in it if you know what you're going to cook and if you've had some experience in it. He fascinated me by knowing exactly what measurement was going to fit here, where the gas needed to be close to this and where this sink needed to come out. There's so many regulations. There's so many things you need to know in that type of business. It's a mobile business with water and gas moving down the road. So he fascinated me with knowing all of that stuff. I never would have known that on my own. But for me to make the phone calls to say, you're making this right now because you have a lot of our money and you need to, that's where we're good in that sense. Good partnership.
That's so important to have the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
So would you agree that just physically getting the truck was the hardest part of the whole thing?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
not.
the everything else was expected.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, that sounds like quite the journey. And so how did you find all these things out about where to put things in the truck and all the permitting? Like, how did you figure all that out on your own?
So I have friends that own food trucks, and I've worked in food trucks. I've also worked in restaurants for a very long time, and asking the right questions and making friends with the health department certainly helps. And what surprised me with Pima County is that the health department was really nice and really helpful for me in that process. It was where we're from, it's not that at all. The health department hates you. You know,
Yep.
where it seemed the health department was eager to get more businesses up and going, and especially down in this part of the county. So
And answer questions, right?
Yeah.
They were really eager to answer, well, we don't know, can you help us with these? I mean, even from Santa Cruz County to Sahaurita, which is Pima County, it's a different ballgame.
Whole different ballgame.
Whole different ballgame.
Yeah, we've worked with the county. We're trying to get permits for certain things, and they have been so helpful. And it's good to hear that they're being helpful to businesses as well. Sometimes I chalk it up to, oh, we're a nonprofit, so they're helping us out. But it's really good to hear that they're helping out businesses too.
Yeah.
Because any question we have, I'll email someone and they'll say, I don't know, that's not really my area of expertise. I'll send you to this person.
Yes.
And they always have an answer.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what happened with us. I mean, even there was a question about the water line and where do we put the water line. And when we got on the phone with a woman from the health department, she was great in telling us, listen, what I've seen in the past with food trucks is XYZ. That's not the way you want it. You need to have it, ABC. Oh, great. Thank you for that information. So I did feel like we got a lot of helpful tips from the health department that they didn't have to give us, but did.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to cut any corners, even if it cost me a heck of a lot more money. I wanted to do it right. And my philosophy, if you do it right first, it'll take care of you for a long time.
Yeah.
But if you cut corners, you're just going to end up spending more money and time in the long run,
Yeah.
and making enemies with the health department.
Yes,
So-
you never want to do that.
No.
Yeah, it's tough out there. I'm glad they were very helpful for you. I wish there was one thing I wish that there was in general, or maybe even through the county, was a guidebook, like.
Yes,
But there really
one
isn't.
all-inclusive, and I've thought about that too, but it's so hard because there are specifically with food trucks and trailers that there are so many different manufacturers out there from multiple countries that there's only some general guidelines that you have to adhere to because every situation is different.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, same thing with restaurants too. Like everything is already set up differently, but yeah, it would be nice to have like, hey, you can't have this next to this. You know, you don't find that out sometimes until your inspection. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
wish I would have known that.
yeah,
But asking the question is
Yeah.
important. Sometimes you don't know what questions to ask, but
yeah, that's true too.
The other thing, and I'll make this quick, that was helpful for us was that the town of Sahaurita has their Grow Sahaurita program, if you will. And when we called to just ask some general questions about licensing and logistics for having this mobile business in our town, they told us about this Grow program, and they put us with a business kind of consultant. Her name was Hillary, and she was more than willing to meet with us twice a week if we wanted to go over the financial part of the business, looking at projections, helping us plug in numbers into spreadsheets. They were general, obviously, because each business is different, but if somebody had zero experience with starting their own business around here, I would suggest calling them and getting in touch with that program, because they do have people that will hold your hand and walk you through at least the financial part of it.
and that's a free service through the town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally free.
I had
Blew
no
me
idea about
away.
that.
It's
Wow.
one of their initiatives. I think it's one of the town's initiatives to try to bring small businesses into the community and help people who may have an idea but don't know where to start. So that was nice.
That is an amazing resource. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing that. How did you find the location, and did you need permits to be at the location you're at? Tell us where the location is, where you park most days of the week.
So I don't like to bounce around. So we are at one spot for the daily grind. We'll go other places for catering gigs, but we are always on Sahaurita Road, on the west side of the highway, exits 75, on a dirt patch.
Yes.
I can't be more specific.
It's like a turnout.
Yes.
If you're going southbound on I-19 and you get off exit 75, look right.
It's right there.
Yes, yeah.
You
We're
can't miss
there
us.
Tuesday through Friday from 11 to 6, all the time. And then...
Unless we have an event.
Yes, unless we have a lunch or something. But we really try to be there for people who want our food.
Consistency is key.
Consistency is key. Like one of the top 3 most important parts of a business, I feel like, especially with food.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Saturdays, we tend to bounce around, but the Saturday bounce around is Green Valley Farmers Market or Sahaurita Park event or something like that. So we really still try to keep it local. And another bit of consistency is we put our schedule, whether it's regular or changes, every day on our social media. So our Facebook, our Nextdoor, our Instagram, every single day. We put what our hours are going to be and where we're going to be.
In the beginning, we were kind of thinking about going to a busy spot, maybe one of the spots over by the Walmart Supercenter over there, because I've seen food trucks hang out there, or a supermarket parking lot or somewhere where there's a lot of foot traffic. And in my way of thinking, it's 2 different ways you can do this. Either you go to the destination or you create the destination. So on a whim, I decided to go and park where nobody has ever parked before except broken down cars. And
we did have to do a lot of research and there's private property, there's public property, but there's public property with nuances and some special details, right?
And
you have to
conditions.
with conditions. You have to go to the town, you have to go to the county. You have to make sure that all works with where the health department can come and visit you if they want to, and the fire marshal. So we did a lot of research. When I mean a lot of research, Jeff literally got a map of the town, and what property belonged to whom and when and what. I mean, 6 months of research of where, and I kept saying, all right, this will work with everything, but it's a dirt patch. There's a broken down tractor trailer. It's okay, it's visible. People are driving by all the time. It'll be our spot. It's visible. Not a park. It's going to be great. It's visible. It's right by the freeway. And listen, he was 100% right. It works. It is dusty, and we've got picnic tables and a tent, and it works.
the tent kind of blows away every once in a while.
It works.
It's
I mean,
Arizona.
people are they see it, and every other time somebody says, "Oh, I haven't gotten there yet, but I drive by it all the time on my way to work." I'm like, "Great, they see it.
They see it.
It's easy to see."
It is.
Yeah.
I think that's a genius location.
Yeah.
And you're not in competition.
No,
No.
and it's our spot. I mean, I really feel like, I've said to other food trucks that have asked about it, I'm like, that's our spot. That's our spot. We made that our spot. It's our spot.
It's specially zoned for our truck only.
It's almost exactly what I've said.
So how do you handle competition? Do you have a lot of competition, or how does that work?
Well, it's hard because competition is any other place that will put butts in the seats in their restaurant versus your restaurant. It's hard to gauge because where we are, there's nobody unless you go over the highway, and then if you want to say who's my competition, it's Arby's and McDonald's and maybe even Fry's Supermarket, you know. So as far as the cuisine, there's nobody around here that's doing what we're doing, but there are other food trucks. So so I guess the general answer is that I do nothing.
Because you don't really have much of a company. Yeah.
I do what I do, and I hope that my food is good enough that our customers and new customers will come back and keep on coming back. And that's all I can really do at this point, unless people start showing up and or somebody parks across the street or something. Then we're gonna have a situation.
Then we'll call you back in here.
Yeah.
Talk.
But I think I tend to worry about that far more than he does. I think Jeff really, really believes firmly that I'm going to make good food, and I'm going to do it really honestly, and I'm going to do it consistently. And people are going to come back because this is what they want. Because they loved it the first time, they're going to love it the second time, and it's going to be exactly the same the third. The other food trucks, it's kind of like a clique, right? Once you're part of a food truck clique, you all wave at each other, you all say hi. But around here, which is great, there's a lot of differentiation. There's a coffee food truck, or there's ice cream or pizza, but we all kind of tend to have our own little niche areas, which is nice for Sahaurita. Tucson is a whole different ballgame, but around here, everybody's kind of doing what they want to do, and it's a little different.
It's a great variety. I think maybe the only competition for food trucks around here would be the shaved ice or snow cone trucks. Otherwise, if you take all the food trucks that I know of around here and put them all together in the same block, I think you'd have an amazing time.
Yeah. The town does some really fun food truck roundups in Rancho Sahaurita, and there's always such a big variety. And I think they pick and choose to make it that way, because there are a lot of the food trucks are the same. So I love the variety that they choose, because there are a lot. So many. Do you have a memorable food truck experience or event that you've been to? What's your favorite? Do you have anything that stands out?
Well, for me, we're brand new, so we've only been open for a few months at this point. But 2 months into it, we got into an event that the town puts on, which is Fiesta Sahaurita, and there was something like 25,000 people there. Oh yeah,
we were there too.
Yeah.
And that was our first real event period first event. And I knew that I was going to have a staffing issue because I only had one full-time person. I had one person that was cooking that trained 2 days with us, and then I had our two kids. Nisa came halfway through it, and another woman that wants to open a coffee truck that had only been inside of our food truck twice.
Yeah, the menagerie.
Yeah, and it was like, let's try and do this. I mean, it'll be good. The moral of the story is that we definitely learned a lot about ourselves, what we can do, what the capacity the truck can handle, how fast or not fast we can put food out at the same exact quality as we would as if there were only one customer at the window, which is the way we handle it. We don't do like one thing at a time. We'll fill the griddle, and then you know how it works. So that was, even though that we got beat up pretty good, it was a huge learning experience for me, and me being a very analytical guy. I saw more of a potential in that truck and our employees that it really kind of brightened my perspective of the whole thing going forward. So, and it definitely made me more confident in being able to say, yeah, we can do these big events. We
Like
just
nobody-
need more training.
You know, but in the restaurant, right, there's the front of the house and the back of the house, and nobody knew, I don't think, that we were all, you know, freaking out in the background. We did our best to make it look like we'd been doing this for 2 years, not just, you know, 1
2
month.
months, yeah. Exactly.
And we were really proud of ourselves, you know. We would say to each other, you know, we've got a line, you know, and it wasn't a line because we were going slow. It was a line because people wanted to be in that line. And it was really exciting for both of us.
Yeah.
I think
And we, how many tickets did we do?
178
Holy.
So
individual tickets.
Yeah, so in every ticket was of feeding a family.
Yeah.
So we did that for 6 hours.
For like 800 covers or more.
Yeah,
And
pretty
then we
much.
figured that we did something like we completed a ticket every 2 minutes. And so when we say analytical, this is what we do at the end of the day. We count exactly how many tickets, how many people were on those tickets, how fast did it take to get it out the window. I mean, these are things that we look at every single day, really. I think the best thing for me so far has been, so social media has been great for us. I highly suggest it. If you're going to use it, really use it. You have to be dedicated to doing it, but use it and use it well because it's free advertising. It can also be free, not great advertising, depending.
Toxic.
Yes, pretty toxic. It depends. But we read, we've had really good reviews, knock on wood, so far.
Yeah, so
And
we've been really lucky.
yes,
So.
and one of the ones that really got me was a woman just a couple weeks ago who said, I'm not a food truck person, never have been, never even thought about it. I've never even thought about getting anything appetizing from a truck. But I kept hearing things about these smash burgers. I didn't even know what a smash burger was, but I felt like, okay, I gotta give it a whirl because everybody's talking about it. And she said, you've changed my perspective on food trucks, and wow, I'm blown away. I'm no longer going to be afraid to try cuisine or food at food trucks, and thank you so much for like turning me on to a whole new scene. And that, like, tears in my eyes. I was so excited. I'm like, woohoo! This is why we're doing this. You
What
know?
more can you ask for? That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Just changing people's minds.
Yep.
So, are you just strictly front of house, or do you work in the back as well?
Well, I can do the heck out of a fryer. I can listen to that thing beep at me and tell me when I gotta change the fries and change the rings. And other than that, I am in the window, you know, labeling boxes, getting orders out. That's my domain. And the fryer. But the food part, it terrifies me because that's its own little world in the food truck, right? Just that part. So no, I stay away from that part.
And do you guys have a brick and mortar where you prep from, or do you prep everything on the truck?
Everything on the truck.
Yeah, everything on the truck. Unless we have, a big event where I need to have more surface area, and then we'll go to our commissary kitchen. Every food truck needs, by code, by law, by whatever, you have to have a commissary kitchen. For a lot of different reasons, but in this particular question, it's about prepping. So there's not a whole heck of a lot that we need to prep, just a lot of rolling burgers, and we make our chili on the fly right there in the truck, so it's not like we need to make 50 gallons of our chili or something like that. So.
What I found was the hardest part of working on a food truck was trying to figure out how much food to make for how many people. How do you figure that out on your truck? On the daily, how much food to buy, what to keep on inventory?
So I have a lot of refrigeration on the truck, and that was on purpose because I want to be able to do a huge event and not sell out and still be the person that's feeding the other vendors as they're closing up.
Right.
So we can hold a lot, but at this point we like on the fly we pack burgers on the truck going throughout the day. We'll start off the day with 80 burgers, and as we get down to a point where we're like, we're not going to make it for the rest of the day, then we'll start prepping more, and we go. Yeah.
I also think quickly that having a menu that's pretty refined and simple allows us to know and be very careful about food waste. I mean, we're really careful about food waste anywhere in our home. We do a lot of composting, so we're really particular about that. So I think having a menu that's very specific, and we've gotten into a groove where we know how many customers more or less we have a day, we're getting it.
That's
pretty
great.
good.
Yeah, I think that's one of the hardest part is the waste and just trying to figure out the inventory.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your 5-year plan? How many trucks do you want in your fleet?
So, I don't know how to answer this because it's multi-directional. As far as trucks go, I think maybe this truck, which is an 18-foot trailer, and then maybe a larger one for the bigger events. But what I would like to do is have our own, like, to be more versatile and have our own different concepts, and maybe a beverage truck that would go along with this, and maybe a kettle corn truck, and it keeps on going on. But as far as storefronts, I definitely would like to have a fast casual storefront. In 5 years, that's very, very doable to have one. But multiple trucks and that, I don't know if we could do it in that time. It's either one direction or the other first. Yeah. But what I think from listening to our customers, they would want us to have a storefront first around here. Just something to come in, not like something like Culver's where you go in, you sit down, you have dinner, you bring your kids, but just takeout only. Maybe a couple seats here and there, but just something simple. I mean, like the concept, just come in, grab your burger, and go home, eat it on the side of the road. I don't care.
Well, I hope that works out because I would love to see that here.
Yeah.
So are there any trends you're noticing in the food truck industry, or are you just like kind of focused on your concept and you just are running with it?
I'd like to say that I'm just focusing on my concept. I frequent and I belong to a lot of different food truck groups online, like whether it's Facebook or Reddit or whatever platform, and I don't think anybody on there really is paying attention to trends. Maybe it's more of the elevated street food trend that we're seeing now. But when you flood a market with anything, and it doesn't matter what it is, you're gonna find creative people that are doing really cool stuff. What I do see on YouTube is a lot of innovative approaches to the same exact ingredients made the same exact way, as well as, on the other hand, a lot of people are discovering birria around here. Well, not just around here, all over, because it's pretty amazing, but that's not really in our concept. Would I like to have a truck that served that? Heck yeah, man. I would love it. But for the most part, I just want to concentrate on what we do, because I don't want to spread myself too thin, and I don't want to go outside the lines of the concept.
Stay in your lane.
Yeah. That's it. That's very important. I mean, I do a lot of the computer, social media for us. I kind of do the office, back office work. And I think one of the things that I notice is that food truck folks in general are really helpful, like to share ideas and share concepts and share what they're doing what doesn't work, the good, bad, and everything in between. What blew up on the truck and how did they fix it? And hey, this insurance company was really helpful to us, or, don't go with this generator because no good. So I think there's a lot of sharing that happens that's been really nice. But I can't agree anymore with Jeff about knowing what you're doing, do it well, and just stick with that. There's so many times he and I, what about this and what about this and what, and we'll just kind of look at each other and be like, what are we doing? Let's just get back to basics. Let's get back to what we're good at.
This is working. Why would we change it?
Yeah.
Okay. What would you tell someone who wants to start a food truck? What is the one piece of advice that you wish you knew before you started your business?
Well, there's one thing that everybody that has a food truck will tell everybody else that wants to get into a food truck, and that is, understand that the amount of work that you're going to do is going to be so much more than you thought. And what I'd like to add to that is the amount of work that you think you're going to do is so much more than you thought, and then multiply that by 10. Because it I don't care what concept it is. You could do coffee. It doesn't matter what it is. It's a 7-day-a-week job if you make it your full-time job. Side note, if you don't make it your full-time job and you're just kind of winging it, you're probably going to fail. And you're just going to waste your money. So that's the main reason why we decided to jump in head first and do it. But I get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock every single day. And I most likely don't get out of that truck or stop doing things with that truck until 10 o'clock at night. And so I don't really get to see or be involved with my family as much as I would like to. And that's important. So that's where we go into, you push yourself until you hire somebody. Then you push yourself until you hire somebody. Well, we're at that third person. I hope I get to level out so I can actually get some sleep and maybe have an hour off here and there to have dinner with my kids.
It's a lot more, it's a lot of dedication. It's a lot of time. We're lucky because I can work on the truck with him and we can work well together. I'm telling you, if we didn't work well together, disaster of a business to be in, because there's nowhere to go. You're in a moving vessel, right?
In a very hot,
small
space.
I will say my biggest surprise, but I didn't have nearly as much experience on a food truck. I'm used to a brick and mortar restaurant, is how much you have to remember. You have to change and stop and refill every single day. I mean, you fryers on a truck and you're driving to your location and then driving home every day. Twice a day, everything has to be filled and then emptied. Everything has to be strapped down. Everything has to be held down. Everything has to be, made sure it doesn't fall out, because we've had we've had one or more occasions where we've opened up the trunk or truck once it's parked and ranch is all over the place because the refrigerator.
Or you strap the refrigerator down. You did a good job, but as soon as you open the door, everything falls out of the refrigerator.
And you clean up ranch for 3 hours.
So we're still learning. I mean, every day there is something that falls or breaks or splashes, and there's always something.
It's just what you need at the end of a 14-hour food truck day
it's wonderful.
Clean up some ranch.
I've spent 2 hours cleaning up ranch, which really never gets out of everything.
On a floor that you just cleaned.
Love it. Just really quick, let's do some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Sure.
Ready?
Go.
Okay. At the end of a long day, you get home. What are you eating?
Pizza.
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 Yep.
Cold pizza.
Cold pizza, leftover pizza.
What's something you don't like to eat but you cook?
Eggs.
Oh, stinky vegetables.
Kale, broccoli.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts. Yes.
Your greatest culinary triumph. Breakfast. Learning to make breakfast.
Yeah, breakfast. Yeah, I guess so.
And then one more. Your favorite cereal.
Oh, I haven't had cereal since I was 13.
Oh no.
I'm a pizza guy in
You're-
the morning.
you're-
With
okay, you're a
bagel
savory
or
guy.
something. Yeah.
I'm granola. I
Granola.
like granola. Yeah.
I mean, Honey Nut Cheerios is pretty good, but the burps after are a little weird.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you so much for being here today. Once again, it's Jeff and Nisa, and they are from National Eats Food Truck. Tell us again where you are, where they could find you, what days of the week.
Yes. We are parked off of Sahaurita Road, right to the west of the I-19 freeway. You can find us on Facebook, National Eats. You can find us on Nextdoor if you're local. Our website, nationaleats.com. Pretty easy. You can Google us and we're there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And thanks for listening to Heart and Plate Podcast. I'm Weezie, and we're going to sign off.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you.